we live very compartmentalized lives. We're like, okay, if I have a problem with my throat, I see the ear, nose, and throat specialist. And, this is my work day life, and this is my personal life, and this is my social media life. It's like all compartmentalized, but we're all of a piece. We're all human beings, as we started this show discussing. So I think instead of like trying to check all the boxes, if we try some more, maybe strange at first, but actually really natural ways to improve our health that served our ancestors well, you'll find it's going to help you on all the levels.
This is Meredith for Real, the Curious Introvert, and I'm Meredith. I explore the questions people think but don't ask out loud, either because they're taboo or thanks to cultural hypnosis. My mission, and yours if you choose to accept it, is to inspire curiosity by exploring the nuance and paradox of our world. Each episode is different, so bring your ADD and your earbuds and have a look around. Hey, Curiositors, it's me, Meredith. I am thrilled to introduce you to this week's guest because I've been a longtime listener of her podcast. She is such a pro at looking into the past to provide context for modern ailments and finding simple solutions. In our time together, you'll hear the 3 health hacks you can actually do, and 2 out of the 3 are totally free. If you end up liking this episode, you'll also like the one I did with the nomadic nutritionist who studies ancestral ways of eating and living. That's episode 113. And if you are a repeat listener here, you are the best. I appreciate you taking a break from whatever repeat offering the algorithm has been giving you and including me in your week to stay curious and grow. If you haven't already left a rating on Apple Podcast, I'd be so very grateful because even if you're too tongue-tied to leave a review, that rating part really sets me up to take the podcast to the next level with high-level guests and meaningful sponsorships. So just give those stars a little tappity tap. And if you're new here, welcome. Around here, we press play to get curious, disrupt that algorithm, and grow into better humans. We talk about everything from nutrition to near-death experiences. So bring your ADD and your earbuds and have a look around. There's no specific order to listen to episodes. Enjoy the show. Have you ever seen someone on Instagram who's cold plunging in a frozen lake, walking barefoot in the woods, or eating things like bone broth and kefir and thought, why? Why would a normal person end up doing these strange things? What could it possibly be doing for them other than getting attention on social media? Well, the globe-trotting biohacker has entered the chat. My next guest is a certified health coach with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and the podcast host and producer for the Weston A Price podcast. Oh, sorry. Can we do that again?
No, it's fine.
I messed that up. Okay, we try again. Yeah. Have you ever seen someone on Instagram who's cold plunging in a frozen lake, walking barefoot in the woods and eating things like bone broth and kefir and wondered, why? Why would a normal person end up doing these strange things? What could they possibly be getting out of it other than attention on social media? Well, the globe-trotting biohacker has entered the chat. My next guest is a certified health coach with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and the podcast host and producer for the Weston A Price podcast, Wise Traditions, an interview podcast for those seeking optimal health based on ancient wisdom. She's also like a normal person who actually does some of these abnormal things in the pursuit of vitality. And today she's going to share how she went from typical health habits to the ancestral and sometimes strange, and which ones you might want to try yourself. Multilingual sun seeker, holistic health advocate, real life Dora the Explorer, Hilda Labrada Gore. Thanks for being here.
Meredith, thank you so much. I've never heard an introduction quite like that one, and I liked it.
Well, I'm glad you did. I had a few guests on lately talking about the difference between like normal and common when it comes to our bodies and our function and our dysfunction. And I love that you seem to be, as a person, you know, because I listened to your podcast, a very good bridge between what some might consider like out there and just the average person. So maybe we can start by you describing how you were before you were holistic Hilda.
Okay, absolutely. So I am, and we all are in a lot of ways, average human beings. We're beautiful, we're multifaceted, and we even have areas of ourselves that we haven't explored, right? So as I got into this health and wellness space, I was really at first just into the fitness thing. So I was a regular exercise instructor teaching fitness classes 3 to 4 times a week. I really thought that was the key to well-being. I still think movement is amazing, right? So it was body pump classes and kind of a Zumba style class and power strength. Like it was really, really good stuff. Boot camp style classes. I loved it. But there was so much more to well-being that I hadn't yet explored yet. And this is what's so fun for you, for anyone listening right now. Start exactly where you're at. You've got a lot of good things going for you. I'm sure you wouldn't even have come across this show. And the fact that you're here means that you're an explorer too. And so I'm going to share some stuff that might seem out there and some of which might really resonate with you. But either way, just stay patient, hang on for the ride, and see what you want to apply. Because Meredith, that there's one thing that's true about me. It's that I love being practical. I'm not big on the biohacks that cost thousands of dollars, getting in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. By the way, I've been in one of those and it made my ears pop. I hated it, or doing, IVs, although I've tried some of these things, but it's almost like I've done the homework for other people. But basically, to back up, I have 4 kids and I was teaching exercise classes regularly, didn't give a second thought to any other health hacks. I thought I had found the key. And then my best friend got chronic fatigue. And she was one of those people who was always catching colds in the winter. I mean, I could see it. She didn't have a strong constitution, not a lot of immunity, if you will, to illness. And so I knew she was always kind of fragile. But when she got chronic fatigue, girl, she got laid out. She was just like, doctors can't help me. I mean, she tried to get help from the doctors. They had nothing to offer her. She's like, what am I going to do? She joined some support groups like people do. But it wasn't until she found the Weston A Price Foundation that she got guided to make some dietary changes that helped her. Now, she still has a bunch of problems. It's a long story, but changing her diet to make it more in tune with what our ancestors would have eaten started to improve her health. And when I saw this, and when she started saying, Hilda, what you eat matters, I was like doing a double take, like, wait, it matters? I thought you just had to work off the calories in the gym. But she started to explain to me the concepts of nutrient density. And in other words, I started out with exercise only. I started getting into the food bit, and then I went on from there.
Okay.
That's my backstory.
So you didn't personally have like a problem that you were trying to solve for. It was like your friend had a problem and she was solving for it. And then that made you curious about what else was out there.
100%. Now, I will say this. Sometimes, as you were saying earlier, what we think is common is normal. So one thing I experienced was I would be in the middle of teaching an exercise class and I would start to feel really shaky and sweaty, not because I was working so hard, though I was, but it was because I could feel my blood sugar dip. And I was like, what is up? I would grab a power bar or, a kind bar, anything that was within reach that I could munch on quickly to lift my blood sugar up and continue teaching class. And I thought, well, I must be one of those people that just needs to graze. I'm just one of those people. Later, I found out that my body was crying out for more protein and fat, that I was having a breakfast that's very common, cereal with some 2% milk and some berries on it or something like that. That couldn't sustain me at all. What I really needed was bacon and eggs, or something that was really going to be more substantial. Now, when I eat that kind of breakfast, I can soar like all day. But back then, I couldn't even go 2 or 3 hours without needing something more. So I did have that, but I didn't notice it at first. I just thought, well, I guess, again, I dismissed it. And now I've gotten this like kind of insatiable curiosity about what else is out there that can help improve my health and the health of others. And that's why I travel the world and why you were so right to say I'm like Dora the Explorer, because I won't stop, can't stop. I've been to Mongolia, Kenya, Australia, Peru, Ecuador. Why? Because I'm like convinced that there are secrets and clues in the past for good health today. And I want to help uncover them and lift them up.
Yeah, I talk about sometimes about our evolutionary mismatch, that technology and our society, the normal ways that we live as modern humans, is mismatched to our evolutionary biology, and that to live optimally, we do kind of have to find a practical way to marry those two. And so I have also been interested in the idea of, vitality, and it is harder as you get older, not necessarily because it's less accessible, but because the common is not just common. It's just kind of like, it feels a little in your face. Like when you say something, oh yeah, I'm 30 now, my knees hurt. Like, what? No, no, stop. But some of the biohacks are more interesting than others. Was there anything when you started looking into this world that you're like, okay, that is weird? At least in the beginning, you thought that was so weird.
100%. And I'm not sure people have heard of this one yet, but there is a movement in what they call the quantum health space that is about getting the early morning sun. And again, a regular person might be like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm trying to wear sunglasses and sunscreen. I want to avoid the sun. I shouldn't be getting into it, let alone near dawn, for goodness sakes. I don't even know when the sun rises. That's how disconnected I was, Meredith, until I talked to Thaddeus Owen, known as the Primal Hacker, and Jack Cruz and other Dr. Leland Stillman, other people in this space. And they said, actually, the early morning sun helps set your circadian rhythm. It syncs you with nature. It boosts your metabolism. It revs your energy. It literally is a nutrient. I didn't believe them. I'm going to tell you straight up. So if anyone's listening is like, oh, whatever, this is fast forward. No, wait, hold on for 1 second. Let me tell you something. I was a convinced, wholehearted, card-carrying night owl. I was the girl that once I put my kids in bed, it was time to roll up my sleeves and get going, right? Clean up the house and do the laundry and answer some emails and all the things. I was up until midnight, 1, 2, and I just thought, well, it's in my genes. I'm Latina after all, and they're known for their siesta and their late night pachangas, So I was just thinking it was just how things were. And when my friend Thaddeus Owen challenged me, I interviewed him on the Wise Traditions podcast. He said, just take 2 weeks, get outside within 30 to 45 minutes of sunrise. Just spend like 15 minutes out there. It doesn't matter the weather. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy. It doesn't matter if you have buildings. I live in a city, all these things. Don't let that worry you. Just get outside within 30 to 45 minutes of sunrise. Stay outside for 10 to 15 minutes and then see what happens. Meredith, I started this. My husband was like, we'll see how long this lasts. I have never looked back. I continue to get the morning sun every single day. And it's changed my life. It's changed my circadian rhythm. Now I do go to bed early. I feel like it's the granny hour. I'm like, oh, it's past 8. I should get in bed. But I feel so good. I feel like half my age. It's amazing. And so what I wanted was to honor my sleep because it's something I used to never pay attention to. I burned the candle at both ends. I was like, whatever. But suddenly by getting that early morning sun, it helped my sleep not only be good in terms of quantity, like the number of hours in bed, but the quality. It became more restorative. It gave my brain a chance to take out the trash. All the things the experts talk about are true. And so biohackers, here are these people living and using all these modern gadgets. Nothing can beat the sun. They literally get up in the early morning hours and get that morning sun because they know it can change everything. I know one person that did it for 2 weeks and lost weight. That's not an objective of mine because I'm small enough as it is, but it does good things for the body. It kind of oversees your hormonal function. It informs your hormonal function. So the melatonin knows when to start producing it and when to start secreting it and all the good things. It's all of a piece. So I feel like in life, if I could just preach for a second, we live very compartmentalized lives. We're like, okay, if I have a problem with my throat, I see the ear, nose, and throat specialist. And, this is my work life, and this is my personal life, and this is my social media life. It's like all compartmentalized, but we're all of a piece. We're all human beings, as we started this show discussing. So I think instead of like trying to check all the boxes, if we try some more, maybe strange at first, but actually really natural ways to improve our health that served our ancestors well, you'll find it's going to help you on all the levels. I feel more peaceful, more happy because I do sunrise before screen rise. So even if the listener takes none of my other advice, that's my favorite piece. Instead of rolling over in the middle, as soon as you wake up in the morning and the first thing you look at is your social media feed, which by the way can be super depressing and just lead to comparison and all that. If you just set that aside and get the sun first, even if it's not close to sunrise, get outside for 10 to 15 minutes and just watch what happens. Take the Thaddeus Owen Primal Hacker Challenge and see what you think.
Okay, that is so interesting. I have a couple of follow-up questions. Like, I am imagining like a listener listening to this and thinking, okay, I drive to work and I don't look at my screen before I do that. Does driving to work count as the sun? And then the second question would be, what are you doing when you're out there? Just walking around? We're going to take a quick break to hear about those who support the show. When we come back, you'll hear if driving to work counts as outdoor time, why you should wear sunglasses at night, and why you don't need to cold plunge. If you ever wonder where I find guests for the show, the answer is it varies a lot. And since it's something that gets asked a lot, I started including the backstory of each episode in my Monday emails. And then on Saturday, I share cliff notes and clickable links in case what you heard was so good you wish you could have taken notes. If you want to be included, text REAL to 66866 if you're in the US, or go to meredithforreal.com if you're elsewhere. If you're listening north of the state of Georgia, mosquitoes are not top of mind right now. But if you're in the Florida Panhandle or Gulf Coast of Alabama, you're already dusting off your grill and citronella candles. Make life easy for future you and get your property scheduled for a mosquito treatment with Insect. I've been using them since 2019 and they continue to impress me. They guarantee their work and pollinators are always top of mind. Check them out at ensec.net. If you watch the show on YouTube, then you see the beautiful backdrop of Trader John's, the exhibit where I record the show inside the Pensacola Museum of History. This is just one museum under the umbrella of the UWF Historic Trust. If you're planning a trip to Pensacola and need an indoor activity option, pick up a ticket. It's good for a whole week. Get your tickets in person so you can show the agent one of my emails and get $2 off an adult ticket. Now back to the show. Remember to stay till the end where I give you a sneak peek of next week's episode.
Looking like a crazy person. Great questions. The first one, the thing about the windows in your car is they block some of the spectrum of light. And I am not a scientist. I am a health coach, and I've interviewed enough scientists that I've learned a good deal about this, but I cannot tell you exactly which spectrum is blocked by that window, but I know it blocks some. So at the same time, you're getting some benefit. So count it if you want to. Roll down the windows if you can. That would be even better for 10 to 15 minutes, because then you get more of that direct sunlight on your skin. We really just spend far too much time indoors. Like they used to say 3/4 of our day we spend inside. Now they're saying 7/8, and they're counting the time in the car as time outdoors, actually. So we're spending so much time outdoors, and our ancestors did the opposite. They spent 3/4, if not 7/8 of their time outside. And so they got the benefits of the sun. Now, and get this, they didn't have the incidence of skin cancers and such that we do. And some suggest that it's actually the artificial light that we're exposed to that's compromising our body's ability to make the right melanin, the protective melanin, to avoid the skin cancer. So it's very interesting. And a lot of times in our conversation today, people may find it's the opposite of what we've been told. Like I said earlier, we're thinking, oh, we should avoid the sun, put on sunscreen so we can stay protected. It's just fascinating. Both the sunrise and the sunset light are beneficial, but the sunrise light helps set your circadian rhythm. And it has this multiple beneficial ripple effect.
Interesting. Okay, you talk about ancestral a lot, obviously, and the podcast is centered around ideas that are like that. What's the big deal with ancestral? Because for most Americans, we are so disconnected from whomever our ancestors are that idea feels, I mean, whatever is more foreign than foreign. Like it feels so far away, so like made up, like once upon a time in a land far, far away where people called our ancestors. Like it doesn't even, there's no connection there. So why is the ancestral piece of it important?
It's important because we're connected more than ever, Meredith, through our technology and all of these advances that are beautiful and are allowing us to have this conversation right now with thousands and thousands of people. But we're also more disconnected than ever from who we are, from each other, and from the past. You're exactly right. We think of the ancestors and we're just like, what, who is this, like the Flintstones kind of time we're talking about? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. We hardly know our own ancestry, right? So there's a lot to explore. I think we have lost our sense of purpose and a sense of meaning. People are depressed, they're anxious, and this is because we've lost our context. So I suggest looking to the past because I have actually met people who are still living according to these traditions, and I see their joy, I see their resilience and their strength. So it's not just some idea in my head of what ancestors might have been like. I have been to Ecuador among the Quechua people who still live together in community. They support each other. They keep traditions of dance and feasting together. I got to go down in 2021 to this small town called Santa Barbara, and they were having the Inti Raymi festival, which again, using modernity, I got on Wikipedia. I'm like, what is the Inti Raymi festival? I'm Googling it and trying to learn all I can before I go down. And they said, oh, it's a sun worship festival, blah, blah, blah. When I got there, I realized they weren't exactly right. There was so much more to it. So there is an energy and a beauty from being in person with people that technology can't replace. So at this festival, I learned, they said, this is something of a returning of energy to Mother Nature, to creation. We are grateful for the harvest we had. It was kind of like a Thanksgiving. So we're going to dance around, and our stomping is going to give our energy back to the earth. They said, just like a mother after she has a baby feels depleted and wiped out, that's how the earth feels after giving us its harvest. So we're going to re-energize Pachamama, or Mother Nature. So they danced around. They invited me to dance around too. And so this is not the only place I've been to where I see the bonds of community and the closeness to nature. So even as I'm telling you, let's get out in sun because it's good for our metabolism, our circadian rhythm, our sleep, and weight loss, I think on some profound level, it reminds us of the fact that we're part of this beautiful creation, and it will help us find more purpose and meaning in our day to day. And I may be overstating it, but I actually don't think I am.
Well, what you said about context is really powerful because that is an empowering statement. You know, that's not a should statement. That's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of gives, it's like a key. So that helps every person unlock their own journey, because if they can view themselves within the context of their ancestors, or at least begin to try to guess at it for a lot of us, right? Then we might be able to figure out what's next as far as, you know, we call it biohacking, but, you know, other people just call it living. So, what are some of the top things that if you were to suggest to like the average modern person who, you know, does all the things modern people do when they work in an office and they wear shoes and they have lots of streaming services and, you know, they're doing all the normal American things. What kind of biohacks would you suggest that they try on for size other than the 2-week sun challenge, which now me and all my listeners are totally going to do that?
Oh, good. I'm so excited. And tag me, Holistic Hilda, because I can repost it. Because I love it when people discover kind of the joy of some of these hacks. The second one actually still has to do with light. And again, I used to discount it. So I totally get the skeptic out there who's like, this is crazy. I don't want to look like Bono from U2. But I do suggest wearing blue blocking glasses after dark because, again, humanity has thrived without the modern conveniences we have of electricity and blue light at night. Not only have they survived, but they thrived because we did not know this when somebody designed our wonderful lights that can keep us working all night long, that the blue light, and scientists have shown this with studies, the blue light interferes with our melatonin release. So when I had described earlier, Meredith, that I would get on my computer and answer emails, I just will get a second wind. And I thought, wow, I'm so amazing. Here I am working so hard. Everyone else is sleeping. I really thought I was so great, but I didn't. And now I know that the blue light from my screen was hitting my pineal gland and it was telling my body it was the middle of the day. So of course I felt re-energized, reinvigorated. And then later I, fell asleep easily, but I don't think that sleep was as restorative. So my new thing is once the sun goes down, I pop on some blue blockers, and there are, high fashion companies that sell it like Raw Optics or True Dark. And I think there's a company called Bon Charge. I also sell some cheaper ones on my own site, but I'm just mentioning this because it doesn't have to be a high end product. It
okay,
just
but
needs
what
to be
about
enough to
Dollar Tree though, Hilda? Because like I was at Dollar Tree. I don't know if you have a Dollar Tree where you're at, but we got some Dollar Trees here in the South, and that's like below the Dollar General. That's not the DG. This is like the Dollar Tree. Okay, it's a mess in there, but they sell blue block glasses, and I walked by that one day, and I was like, okay, now I'm really confused. I feel extra confused because it's like buying CBD from the gas station, which I know is a bad idea, but how do you know if the blue blocking glasses that you're purchasing are good?
Is an excellent question. I remember a friend one time buying some glasses. They weren't from Dollar Tree, but they looked like the kind welders would use, and they definitely wrapped around. They were not cute. And she would even wear them during the day when she went shopping because she didn't want the blue light from the fluorescent light. Now, I don't go that far, but I would say, obviously, there's a range of quality. So a cracker you're going to get from Dollar Tree will probably have less than stellar ingredients in it, to say the least. And a cracker you get from Trader Joe's is going to be even better. And a cracker you make at home, even better. So I say just start where you are. If you want to buy some Dollar Tree glasses, go for it. I'm just laughing because I was at a wedding reception the other day and I popped on my blue blockers and this guy was dancing near me and he's like, yeah, my 4-year-old daughter has a pair like that, but they're shaped like hearts. And I was like, oh, so embarrassing. But I put them on anyway because it really does help your body start to wind down. Yes, I was on the dance floor, but I still left at a decent time because I do honor my sleep, like I said. But it so happens that by putting on the blue blockers at night, once the sun has gone down, I'm no longer getting all the artificial inputs that will affect my hormonal function and interfere with my sleep. And so sleep, when you sleep better, it's also a weight loss tool. It really is a detoxing thing. I always joke around that sleep is better than any green smoothie because it's true. So forget all the ads for detoxing and all the things. I'm big on detoxing, but sleep can be number one. So sun and sleep, they're like among my favorite hacks, and definitely wearing the blue blockers, get them as cheap or as pricey as you want. I imagine, to be more specific, Meredith, that the higher quality ones, I am fairly certain, are able to block more of the interfering rays than the cheaper ones. But it's like something is better than nothing. So like, for example, I like for people to buy and eat organic food. But if they can't do everything organic, they can look at the Environmental Working Group's list of the Dirty Dozen and avoid those foods in terms of conventional, and then get other foods, the Clean 15, as just regular food if they can't afford organic of that. For example, they say a banana is fine even if it's not organic because it's in a peel, it's not that bad. Whereas berries, you would want to make sure to buy those organic because you can't get in all the nooks and crannies to get the pesticides off of them. So just a little example.
Okay. So sun before screen, blue blocker lights, maybe not from the Dollar Tree. If you had to pick one more biohacking thing, I know that's asking a lot because you have so many. And probably, I imagine if I were to put myself in your shoes, you do so many of them. They're so integrated in your life. Like it's hard to go, oh, here's a strange thing I do, because it's no longer strange to you. But if you could choose one more thing that would help with a listener's vitality and put them in the right path of not accepting, the downward slope of midlife, what would it be?
Yeah, I would definitely say, so hard to pick just one, but I will say what I call shivers. Again, I like alliteration. I go by Holistic Hilda. So sunshine, sleep, and shivers, because getting cold in 15 minutes, if you shiver for 15 minutes, you get the same benefit as you would from a 1-hour workout. Why? Because 15 minutes of shivering depletes glycogen in the muscles, which is the same thing that happens when you do an intense workout. So if you don't want to exercise that much, but you do want to lose weight or get stronger, build your resilience, both mental and physical, get outside. And you don't need an ice bath like Madonna or like this super, super advanced cold plunge tub like Joe Rogan has. You literally can use the environment for the benefits of cold, depending on where you live, of course. But I would start with a shiver walk. So if you're tempted to grab a jacket before you leave the house today, because at least where I live, it's still spring and it was even in the 40s this morning, leave the jacket behind. What does this do? It surprises your body. It is a little shock. But after a while, and I just mean after you get accustomed to doing this, let's say every day for 10 or 15 minutes, your body rises to the occasion. You're making it work to keep your core warm. It's trying to protect your organs. And in so doing, you burn fat. You build more brown fat, which is what children have, which is why they're always taking off their jackets. I don't need a jacket, Mom, because they have more brown fat than we do. And you actually rejuvenate yourself. Being in the cold lengthens your telomeres. You don't need to get radical. I mean, I like getting in an ice hole as much as the next biohacker. But in some ways, it is kind of extreme, and it definitely, gets people's attention. And I do it because actually I've grown to really enjoy it, but I do want to get people's attention, and also surprises them. But what surprises them too, Meredith, is when they just start getting outside and are like, wait, this counts as cold adaptation? If you live in the northern climes, by the way, and it's like 20, 30 degrees and you're bundled up, but you're outside for an hour, you just did cold adaptation. You just did cold therapy. You get the same benefits because your body is still working. Yes, you're wearing a coat, but it's still freaking cold out there, right? So it seems strange to us, but we're trying to build a resilience that, again, the people who walked this earth before had, because they didn't have the comfort of getting inside, getting warm again. They were often facing the elements, and we simply don't do it enough. I would consider getting outside and getting cold as like strength training for our mental and physical resilience. I really would.
Oh, okay. I love alliteration too. So I love that you set it up that way. Thank you. As we close, can you tell people how they can listen to the podcast? Definitely, check out your socials, but about any, the events that you have coming up.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So I host and produce the Wise Traditions podcast. We cover a huge range of topics, from nutrition to sleep to EMFs, these non-native electromagnetic frequencies we're surrounded by, how to detox, how to tackle these things. I love the show because it's really varied. They can find me on Holistic Hilda YouTube channel, Holistic Hilda on Instagram, and all the other platforms as well. And then I have a website, holistichilda.com.
I'll make sure to link everything in the episode description. And obviously they can also find those links by following you on social media. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. If you haven't already left a rating on Apple Podcasts, I'd be so very grateful. Even if you're too tongue-tied to leave the review part, that rating piece really sets me up to take the podcast to the next level with high-caliber guests and meaningful sponsorships. And if you liked this episode, you'll also like the one I did with the nomadic nutritionist who studies ancestral ways of eating and living, episode 113. Stay tuned next week when I talk with a woman who survived being attacked by a serial killer.